What if I told you that we just witnessed the birth of the brand new Let's Go Brandon? It began this weekend when Governor Kathy Hochul was out campaigning with Zohran Mamdani in Queens. Now, she wasn't outright booed like she was at the Ryder Cup, but the crowd was very hostile towards her and they were heckling her the entire time. It started even when she came out on stage and was attempting to begin her speech. So you could see it going off the rails right off the bat. She was trying to wrangle the crowd, get them on her side, but it just never worked. For comparison, let's take a look at another moment from this rally. This is when AOC was trying to defend Zoran Mamdani's crazy positions. You'll notice there was no heckling, and in fact, the crowd was cheering her on as she was speaking.
But we must remember, in a time such as this, we are not the crazy ones, New York City. We are not the outlandish ones, New York City. They want us to think we are crazy. We are sane.
Ooh, thou dost protest too much, AOC. I'm just saying, if you have to try to get people to believe that you're not the crazy one, maybe you need to rethink your position. Anyone who's ever been, on the dating scene knows that the moment someone's like, hey, I'm not crazy, my ex is the one who's crazy, you know to run far away. That's like the biggest red flag there is, and they're openly saying it on stage now. We're not crazy, we're not crazy. They're trying to say we're crazy, I promise we're not. Okay, yeah, but as you heard there, the crowd was actually quiet. They were letting her speak, and they cheered when she gave her applause lines, I guess. Compare that to Kathy Hochul now, as she's talking on stage, and Zoran Mamdani actually has to come out. Yes, it was the end of her speech, but you can just hear how the crowd turns.
I can hear you. But here's my friends. You want to see Zoran or not? Listen.
Yeah, you can tell she's getting very agitated here, but just look at the backdrop behind them. Freeze the rent, making buses fast and free, universal childcare. Talk about a socialist fantasy right there. They're promising free this, free that. Meanwhile, everyone older than the memory of a goldfish knows that there's no such thing as a free lunch. Here on Planet Reality, we have to work jobs, be responsible, pay our bills, budget. That's not to say that it's easy. Of course it's challenging and it has its ups and downs. But none of us are sitting back and just, expecting the government to step in and save us, give us freebies. I'm surprised they didn't have a sign there, saying free healthcare for everyone. They really are right now the party of grievance, which is really ironic because they say that Trump is full of grievance. But they're, railing against the system. They're railing against the opportunities that has not only made America the most prosperous nation in the history of the world, but also gives all of us the ability to chart our own future. Now, speaking of responsibility and economic hardship, if you are a senior, it's important to know that Medicare costs are set to soar not only next year, but over the next decade, while Medicare benefits decrease. This is a stressful time. It's open enrollment season. I'm sure you're bombarded right now with spam emails, spam calls, and it's tempting to just say, hey, this is too stressful, too overwhelming, and just you tune it all out. But that is a mistake. You don't want to have next year roll around and find out that your plan no longer covers your doctor or covers your prescription medication, and that's why I'm proud to partner with Chapter. They review every single plan that is available to you. Many of these plans are really difficult to find on the official Medicare.gov website. In fact, the average senior saves over $1,100 a year with them. And hey, guess what? If you are already on the right plan, they'll let you know. There's absolutely no pressure, and you can have peace of mind just knowing that, hey, I'm covered. I have everything I need. Call chapter 321-358-2297. In less than 20 minutes, you can have peace of mind that you have the best coverage for your specific needs. Well, as if two high-profile events where Kathy Hochul was number 1 booed and number 2 heckled weren't bad enough, Hochul made this worse for herself. She claimed that the crowd wasn't chanting "tax the rich." No, they weren't heckling her. She instead pulled a "let's go Brandon."
Given the reception you received last night at Zoran's rally where people were chanting tax the rich, are you going to hold the line on raising taxes, even if it means losing an endorsement or getting a primary challenge?
I couldn't hear what they were chanting. I thought they were saying "Let's go Bills." I wasn't sure. When you're up there, I heard some noise. I heard a lot of cheers, but later on it became clear to me that I know there's passion for that. I mean, I went in there as the leader of the Democratic Party, whose job it is to unify behind the Democratic nominee. I love the energy out there. I told them that, and I want to do is bottle all that up, use it in a few days, but take that to Long Island and the Hudson Valley and make sure that we can stop these.
She is so full of it. You can tell if you rewatch those clips, you could tell that they were heckling her. You could tell she was not happy with those chants, just not only based on her facial expression, but how she was speaking, what she was saying. Do you want to see Zoran or not? That right there I thought was really indicative, and she, would pause when they were like, even when the entire stadium wasn't chanting, just a few hecklers here and there, she realized, hey, this is not a good situation, and she was trying to figure out how to move forward. So she's just lying right there. But that's what you have to do, right? Whenever you're trying to sell socialism, it's all lies. It's all fantasy. All of it is just absolute nonsense. And that leads me to the next point. A few days ago, I made a video talking about what Zohran Mamdani said about 9/11. Now, in case you missed it, here is a refresher of what he said.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
Okay, so number one, he disgraced the memory of 9/11. The real victims of 9/11 were those who died, not only in the towers, but those jumping out because they were trying to escape the flames. The ones on the airplanes itself, the families, the first responders, and then, of course, all of the never-ending wars in the Middle East. Well, it turns out that also is a lie. How despicable do you have to be to lie about your family history and tie it to one of the first, hijack the memory of the most horrific terrorist attack on American soil? So this is Zohran Mamdani's aunt. Her name is Zohran Mamdani, and what do you notice? She's not wearing a hijab. She never has worn one. She shows her face all the time. But that right there, he was saying, oh, she didn't take the subway because she was scared. She was getting ugly looks because she was wearing coverings. Oh, but that's not all. Because we know who she is, people have found her LinkedIn profiles. Take a look at this. January 2000 to December 2003. She was working in Tanzania. That's right. She was out of the country. She was also in Tanzania the year before that. So really 1999 to 2003. She was working overseas. So unless she was taking a vacation here, so theoretically she could have been here on 9/11, but he made it sound like as if she was taking the subway every day and she had to stop because she was just getting so many hateful stares. No, if she stopped, it's because she went back to work in Tanzania. And no, this isn't just some sleuthing from me or other internet random people. This has now been confirmed by the Daily Mail. Troubling claims made by Zohran Mamdani after story about Muslim aunt being too scared to ride subway after 9/11 turned out to be false. Also confirmed by the New York Post. Zohran Mamdani didn't tell the whole truth about his hijab-wearing aunt who feared for her safety post 9/11. Well, Mamdani was confronted about this today by the press, and now he's angry. He's complaining that people missed the point of his story. Well, Zoran, if your story is false, then how can there possibly be a point except the fact that you're a liar?
How will you respond to President
So
Trump?
recently, in a recent address about Islamophobia, you referenced your aunt and some of the harassment she was facing post 9/11. that a blood relative?
Yes, I was speaking about my aunt. I was speaking about Zerafui, my father's cousin.
I was speaking about my aunt, my father's cousin. Your father's cousin is not your aunt. Your aunt would be your father's sister. Your father's cousin, if I'm not mistaken, would be your first cousin once removed, I believe.
Sadly passed away a few years ago. And for the takeaway from my more than 10-minute address about Islamophobia in this race and in this city to be the question of my aunt tells you everything about Andrew Cuomo and his inability to reckon with a crisis of his own.
Woo! Now he's angry. Now he's scolding the media for saying, how dare you take the wrong takeaway from my story about Islamophobia. First of all, dude, you are currently the front runner to be the next mayor of New York City. What Islamophobia are you talking about? Second of all, it wasn't Andrew Cuomo's campaign who dug all of this up. You brought up the story, internet sleuths figured it out, and guess what? The mainstream media, which is already in the back pocket of the Democrat Party, they've been covering it as well. You want to try to distract all of this from Andrew Cuomo. Guess what? It's because Andrew Cuomo, I can't believe I'm saying this, I'm actually cheering for him. Yes, he is surging in the polls. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Evgenia Kurgushkina, LT Brutus SQ, Beehive, and Killer GMA. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you enjoy, and I am glad that you are here. Well, according to Fox News, Cuomo closes gap on Mamdani as NYC mayor race tightens dramatically in new poll. This has been confirmed by CBS as well as USA Today. So this is based on a new Suffolk University poll that's come out. Prior to this poll, Cuomo was behind Mamdani by 20 points. That has now been cut in half. Cuomo is now only behind by 10 points. Now, there is basically a week left in the race, so it's probably too little too late. But hey, crazier things have happened. There are now investigations and there are, pressure campaigns on the DOJ to try to get people to look into Mamdani's citizenship status and whether or not that should be revoked. Did he lie about his support of terrorism or Hamas? There are his background is as a rapper, right? That's really his life experience. And if you take a look at his previous rap lyrics, a lot of people say, hey, it sounds like he's actually praising Hamas. It sounds like he's praising the people and the funders and all the organizers behind October 7. Now, obviously, October 7, he had no idea that would happen when he made those raps. But if he was supporting Hamas, if he was supporting terrorists and enemies of America and lied about that during his citizenship process, then, hey, that would be actually grounds for revoking his citizenship. And that's what's happening right now. They're looking into all of that. On top of that, there is also good news. It is not just Cuomo surging in the polls, but speaking of Governor Hochul, Elise Stefanik just released a new post on X statement on independent polling showing Stefanik beating Hochul. You'll notice that the statement was signed Team Elise, so that tells me that she really is eyeing, if not planning and preparing to run for governor in New York, and I think that would be amazing. Even if Mamdani, it looks like he's the favorite to win right now, unless something dramatic happens within the next few days. That's, going to go down as one of the worst decisions, electorally speaking. But hey, maybe Stefanik can help stop the bleeding and turn the ship around in New York. As always, though, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I'd love to hear from you. So what do you think? Do you think Let's Go Bills is the new Let's Go Brandon? Or is there something else that's taken its place or become the 2025 version of that? Or do you think, Let's Go Brandon is just so iconic, it's untouchable? Yeah, whatever you think, let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Two things I would like to mention. Number one, yes, I do have a new kitten. So I have Drogon right here, Matcham right here. I know I have a lot of new subscribers, so you didn't get like the official introduction that all of my subscribers before 100,000 got. So I will reintroduce the pets, and we will do a giveaway guessing game. That will begin tomorrow, and we will do a drawing on Friday, which is Halloween. So that's announcement number one. Announcement number 2 is I have not forgotten to give y'all updates on the piano concerto competitions that I'm participating in. I'm participating in 2, and the winner of each one gets to play with the, well, in one case, it's a philharmonic orchestra. In other case, it's the symphony. I mean, basically different names for the same thing. The second competition, I am still in the running to make the finals. The first competition, unfortunately, I was disqualified during the semifinals. There was a 15-minute time limit, and I came in above 15 minutes, which is unfortunate. It's a little bit my fault because of the piece that I chose. I knew it was hard and challenging, and it was going to be right on that cusp. But the good news is, in the second competition, they have the exact same time limit, and I came in at 14:56. So now I know for sure I'm in the running. I feel confident in my execution of the piece. Of course, there's always room for improvement, and the performance with the orchestra, the Philharmonic, wouldn't be until next March. So I know I can, get it even better before then. But I will have results for that as to whether or not I make the finals on November 4 or before November 4, but they're projecting a November 4 release date, so I'll keep everyone updated then. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.